Shalom. First and foremost, want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rachak Wadash. Double honors to our apostles and elders, a great millstone that rule well. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect out here pushing truth and sincerity. The water for which I do, we love you. We appreciate you through the spirit of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, and Shalom to y'all. This your brother Double Dodd from the Great Millstone Camp in Atlanta. Lord willing to give you an edifying lesson through the spirit and power. Lock it through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. All right, who the world ignorantly calls God, his name is Yahweh, meaning he is or he exists or he to be. Who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, his name is Yahweh Shai, meaning he is the savior or he is the deliverer. He saves, he delivers. If you're watching this now, you are a so-called black, Native American, or Latino man or woman, then you are a Hebrew Israelite according to the Holy Bible. You would not find black, Native American, or Latino in the Bible. So you need to know who you are according to the Bible. All right, because of certain people in the Bible were promised the glory, the covenant, the kingdom, and salvation. All right. Now, if you don't look like a so-called black, Native American, or Latino, but you feel like this is the truth and it resonates with your spirit, right, then it's a possibility you could be a Hebrew Israelite. It does not matter what you look like. It does not matter what color your skin is. All of that matters is that your bloodline goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So if you look like anything other than so-called black, Native American, or Latino, there is a possibility that you can be saved. All right? Just because you look like those other nations do not mean that you cannot be saved. All right? All right, Jacob had his name later changed to Israel. Israel in the Hebrew is Yasharallah, meaning he, the prince of the power. All right. Now, remember we're reading about David's, journey, conquest as king, from not being king to becoming king, and things that he's doing while he is king. All right, we're looking into the characteristics of our forefathers, all right, to help us in these times that we're in now, right, to apply them to our lives now, to figure out how we need to move in this day and age. All right, the scriptures tell us that wisdom and knowledge should be the stability of thy times. All right. Meaning you apply that wisdom that you learn here in the scriptures to your life and during Jacob's trouble. All right. But, all right. So remember, David just committed adultery with Bathsheba. Slakia. Make sure I'm getting her name correct. Yeah, Bathsheba. Because there's a word in here called Beersheba. It said, so now this is 2 Samuel chapter 12, verse 1, and it reads, Nathan rebukes David. All right, so remember we were in the thick of it, man. All right, he just sent Uriah the Hittite, to be put to death. Pretty much, put him in the heat of the battle. Uriah the Hittite. Because why? Because she was, she got pregnant from King David, man. So basically, man, King David pretty much tried to cut Uriah, man. And instead, since Uriah wouldn't go, lay with his woman, so he can put the blame on Uriah. So Uriah could, so it could be perceived that Uriah was the father. He didn't go lay with his woman, so King David had him put to death. It's wicked, but hey, look, this is the scriptures, man. It's for prophecy's sake, right? Because we had this is how the Lord had Solomon come, be birthed or be born. All right, and a lineage after that, which is Yahweh Shai, man. So King David, Yahweh Shai came out of King David's lineage, man, out of his loins. So verse 1 says, and the Lord sent Nathan unto David, and he came unto him and said unto him, there were two men in one city, the one rich and the other poor. The rich man had exceeding many flocks and herds, but the poor man had nothing, save one little ewe lamb, which he had bought and nourished up, and it grew up together with him and with his children. And it did eat of his own meat and drink of his own cup, and lay in his bosom. and was unto him as a daughter. All right, so this man loved this lamb, man. It says, and there came a traveler unto the rich man, and he spared to take of his own flock and of his own herd to dress for the wayfaring man that was come unto him, but took the poor man's lamb and dressed it for the man that was come to him. And David's anger was greatly kindled against the man, and the reason being is and rightfully so, because the one man has exceedingly abundance. He has exceeding abundance of flock and assets and whatnot, whatever. Maybe he's rich, So how we used to deal with each other, where if you see a stranger who was of your nation, you would you would clothe them, house them, bathe them, feed them, and give them rest, right? And so basically, he would come into your house and whatnot. That's how we dealt with each other. Now you're not going to do that, right? So, you're not going to do that in today's time. But that's how we dealt with each other, So that's why he's giving the parable as for men, how they treat each other for those times. So this traveler is coming to the city. The rich man doesn't give him nothing that he owns or possesses personally, but something that a poor man owns and possesses. Even though this rich man has abundance, he can give him so much. He takes from the only bit that the poor man has, and he gives to the traveler. It says, and he said to Nathan, as the Lord liveth, the man that hath done this thing shall surely die, and he shall restore the lamb fourfold, because he did this thing, and because he had no pity. And Nathan said to David, thou art the man. So you are that man, David. You took, you got so many wives, but you took Uriah the Hittite's wife. All right. And Nathan said to David, thou art the man. Thus said the Lord of power of Israel, I anointed thee king over Israel, and I delivered thee out of the hand of Saul. And I gave thee thy master's house, right? So he's telling you, all right, let's just keep reading. It says, and I gave thee thy master's house and thy master's wives into thy bosom. So this, number one, this proves that we're allowed to have many women, multiple women. The Most High told King David that he gave him King Saul's old wives because he died. So his wife became what? Widows. So he said, hey, but I gave them to you. Not to mention, remember, King David had wives already at that time. Remember? King David already had wives, remember? King David had Nabal's wife that died. Right? I forgot the Carmelite, right? I think it was Abigail. And then he had Michal, right, which is Saul's daughter. He had other women that he had their handmaids and whatnot. He had other women, concubine and whatnot. And then on top of that, he got King Saul's wives and concubine on top of the women that he already had. It says, and I gave thee thy master's house and thy master's wives into thy bosom, and gave thee the house of Israel and of Judah. And if that had been too little, I would moreover have given unto thee such and such things. He said, and if that wasn't enough, I would have given you even more wives, David. Even more wives, even more women of other nations, of the same nation, of other locations, of different cultures and backgrounds and different looks and beauties and, different color hair, different color eyes, different color skin complexion. Very dark women, brown skin, light brown skin, light, very light, right? So he said thick, skinny. I would have given you, right? So that proves that we're allowed to have multiple women already. But he said if that wasn't enough, I would have given you more. So that's showing you we can have as many women as we want, man. It says, wherefore hast thou despised the commandment of the Lord to do evil in his sight? Yeah, so if I would have given you all that, so I already gave you enough, but I would have given you more, even if that enough was not enough. Why did you need to take the one? Why did you need to take the one from the man who only had just only one? It says, thou hast killed Uriah the Hittite with the sword, and hast taken his wife to be thy wife, and hast slain him with the sword of the children of Ammon. Now therefore the sword shall never depart from thine house, because thou hast despised me, and hast taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be thy wife. Yeah, the sword. Yeah, because King David. So if you so we're gonna read, and this is why getting these stories is, we're not reading it like a novel, but when you read in certain accounts, it's good to read it like a story, because now you'll know why King David wasn't ever able to finish the Lord's temple, right? Because he had too much blood on his hands, all right? Because he said the sword will never depart. It says, thus said the Lord, behold, I will raise up evil against thee out of thine own house, and I will take thy wives before thine eyes, and give them unto thy neighbor. And he shall lie with thy wives in the sight of the sun. For thou didst secretly, but I will do this thing before all Israel and before the sun. And David said unto Nathan, I have sinned against the Lord. And Nathan said unto David, the Lord also hath put away thy sin, thou shalt not die. Howbeit, because by this deed that thou hast given great occasion to the enemies of the Lord to blaspheme, the child also that is born of thee shall surely die. And Nathan departed into his house, and the Lord struck the child that Uriah's wife bare unto David, and it was very sick. Now you see, it lost the child. It says, David therefore besought God for the child, Yahweh for the child, Yahweh Shem Yahushai. And David fasted and went in and lay all night upon the earth. And the elders of his house arose and went to him to raise him from the earth, but he would not, neither did he eat bread with them. And it came to pass on the 7th day that the child died, and the servants of David feared to tell him that the child was dead, for they said, behold, while the child was yet alive, we spake unto him, and he would not hearken unto our voice. How will he then vex himself if we tell him that the child is dead? But when David saw that the servants whispered, David perceived that the child was dead. Therefore David said unto his servants, is the child dead? And they said, he is dead. Then David arose from the earth and washed and anointed himself and changed his apparel and came into the house of the Lord and worshipped. Then he came to his own house, and when he required, they set bread before him, and he did eat. Then said the servants to him, what thing is this that thou hast done? Thou didst fast and weep for the child while it was alive. But when the child was dead, thou didst rise and eat bread. And he said, while the child was yet alive, I fasted and wept, for I said, who can tell whether Yahweh will be gracious, Yahweh Shem Yahushua will be gracious to me that the child may live? But now he is dead. Wherefore should I fast? Can I bring him back again? I shall go to him, but he shall not return to me. Man, it says Solomon bored. Now, this is what I'm talking about right here. We think about this right here when you're thinking about sinning against, the Lord, man, or just sinning in general, man. We do it so much out of ignorance, or we do it so much, some things that we cannot control. But the things that you can control, why don't you try to control them? And you could take this, take this as a lesson. That's why I said, that's all I was trying to say, learning lessons, the lessons that we take from our forefathers, the characteristics, this is one of them. It says, and David, now remember, this is a man that has always entreated and inquired of the Lord. He's always inquired of the Lord. But for that one thing, he didn't. He used what? The lust of his flesh instead of the spirit, instead of the wisdom and knowledge. And are any of us going to sit here and act like we're better? This was King David we're talking about. You got N-words, you got niggas that do the same ish today, man. Now, I'm going to be real with you. I wouldn't play that game in this time of day. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you being a Hebrew Israelite, knowing that you're a Hebrew Israelite, that's not a game I would play, because the Lord he spared King David, but he took out his firstborn. It's like he took out his firstborn with that woman. With that woman, right? That wasn't his firstborn, but the firstborn with that woman in particular. So that's a heavy thing, man. The man wept and fasted, bro. You see? So I just wouldn't play that game. You know, verse 24 says, and David comforted Bathsheba, his wife, and went in unto her, and lay with her, and she bare a son, and he called his name Solomon. And the Lord loved him, and he sent by the hand of Nathan the prophet, and he called his name Jedediah, because of the Lord. It says war again. It says, and Joab fought against Rabbah of the children of Ammon, and took the royal city. And Joab sent messengers to David, and said, I have fought against Rabbah, and have taken the city of waters. Now therefore, gather the rest of the people together, and encamp against the city, and take it, lest I take the city, and it be called after my name. And David gathered all the people together, and went to Rabbah, and fought against it, and took it. And he took their king's crown from off his head, and weighed whereof, and the weight whereof was a talent of gold, with the precious stones, and it was set on David's head. And he brought forth the spoil of the city in great abundance. It says, and he brought forth the people that were therein, and put them under saws, and under harrows of iron, and under axes of iron, and made them pass through the brickhill. And thus did he unto all the cities of the children of Ammon. So David and all the people returned unto Jerusalem. Because he just went there just to lay siege upon the land, so he can claim it as his. But yeah, man. So yeah, that's it for now. Little one, he was edified. Great edification there just in that chapter alone. To get the characteristics for our forefathers, the thing that they went through. To know, like, hey, man, certain things you just can't do, bro. Certain things you're not supposed to do. The Lord may forgive you, but certain things we gotta try better, man. So Lord willing, you was edified. I'm gonna end it off by giving all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rakakadash, the bonus to the apostles, the elders, the great millstone that rule well. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect, and shalom.